grateful to all of you on behalf of the country.
You have done well. President Tinubu lauds the bravery of the armed forces in protecting territorial integrity, launches 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem and Appeal Fund. U.S. President Biden gives President Tinubu a pat on the back for implementing rule of law in Nigeria.
The federal government has also been doing the same in respect of some rules constructed by various state governments. That encourages the state governments to go into some of these laudable projects.
Senate approves President Tinubu's request of more than 24 billion naira to reimburse Kebbi and Nasarawa state governments.
Give an enabling environment for investors.
Nigeria to eliminate trade barriers to promote intra-African trade. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the Network News on NTA. I am Elizabeth Omori. Ajola Komiakere will be reading from the city of Lagos. A busy businessman, Benny Adams, has trending business reports from the business arena. Benny?
Well, Nigerian industry is to receive new lease of life as a new minister gets to work.
Of course. And Abdullahi Ajia will give us the latest in the world of sports. Abdullahi.
Super Falcons maintain class and dominance after a 4-1 victory over the Phoenix of Algeria this Tuesday.
Thank you. Don't forget to follow this newscast live on our website, nt.ng/live, NT News Now on X, as well as other social handles displayed on the screen. We begin with the oil and gas industry. President Bola Tinubu has expressed further commitment towards ensuring full implementation of its Naira for crude policy. It was at a meeting to review the policy's implementation at the State House. President Tinubu said the various players in the oil sector, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited and the Dangote refinery, should work to improve the economy and livelihood of Nigerians. The president urged stakeholders to look inward and consider supplying enough petrol and petroleum products for local consumption to stop the persistent reliance on importation, adding that this would enable the channeling of foreign exchange into the development of the rail sector. He advised stakeholders to use Afrexim Bank as a settlement bank to resolve the Naira pricing for crude and refined products. State House correspondent Musbaut Danwahab reports that today's meeting, attended by members of the main and subcommittees on the implementation, agreed that the policy should be sustained while all the initial challenges be addressed to ensure that the policy achieves its desired results. After the meeting, Chairman of the Implementation Committee, Minister of Finance Wale Edu, and Chairman of Dangote Group Aliko Dangote revealed that the policy is set to ensure stability in the oil and gas sector with its multiple benefits.
We have in the financial advisor and the financial intermediary a stabilizing factor that will help us to achieve the objective of ramping up stick production of refined products and the sale of those products into the Nigerian economy.
This thing will actually revive also a lot of industries, because industries that are in plastic, industries that are, in cooking gas, which is LPG, industries like aviation. So also industries that will buy, gas oil, not only PMS. When NNPC refineries work going forward, then Nigeria will be actually one of the biggest exporter of petroleum products in history. So today, as we speak, the meeting went extremely very well.
Moving on, President Bola Tinubu has spoken with President Joe Biden and has promised where he We'll take that again. United States President Joe Biden has promised support towards ensuring a permanent seat for Nigeria in the United Nations Security Council. It was during a telephone conversation between President Bola Tinubu and his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden. In the conversation between them, witnessed by the Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tugar, the U.S. President commended the Nigerian leader for collaboration between the two countries, particularly in the area of adherence to the rule of law.
With regards to security in Africa and in particular West Africa. And President Biden equally assured that this is a partnership that will continue, and he stated, as a matter of fact, not just once, but at least twice, that the future of the world resides in Africa, which is why it was important for this partnership to continue. And the two leaders also discussed the issue of the permanent seats in the United Nations Security Council. And President Biden once again assured that the United States is committed to seeing Africa having 2 permanent seats, and also reiterated that he does not see any reason why one of those seats should not belong to Nigeria, given its position in Africa, its stature, and its importance.
President Biden also thanked President Tinubu for the release of one of the Binance executives facing trial in Nigeria for allegations including evasion of tax. In other news, President Bola Tinubu has commended members of the armed forces for the progressive success recorded in the fight against insecurity in parts of the country. This is when he launched the 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration emblem and appeal fund at the State House. State House correspondent Musbau Wahab has details.
Another cycle is almost complete for the annual remembrance and celebration of the fallen and living Nigerian veterans. Their service in sustaining the existence and unity of Nigeria continues, and certainly much appreciated. So, their welfare, even after service, and that of the families of the departed remain a major concern of Nigerians. The 2025 emblem appeal would start with the endorsement and decoration of the Grand Patron of the Nigerian Legion. This is honoring the past heroes, but the Commander-in-Chief also takes time to recognize the effort of the 7 members currently fighting for the stability of the country.
No matter what economic theory we propagate or postulate, if we have no security, you cannot promote peace and development. I'm grateful to all of you on behalf of the country. Yes, the challenges are still there, but we are the first line of defense for this country. Thank you for your patriotic commitment to Nigerian unity, stability, and progress. We are committed to their values, their principle, their belief, and the unity and stability of this country as we pass on to the next generation a banner without stain.
In the sum of 500 million naira.
And beginning with the Federal Executive Council, National Assembly members and service chiefs, the Nigerian Legion is gaining support in donations to cater for its members in the next fiscal year.
I respectively urge all citizens to obtain and wear the emblem with pride. I also implore every MDA to encourage their staff and visitors to procure and wear the emblems throughout the remembrance period. Be assured that every contribution, no matter the size, will significantly impact the lives of those who have dedicated themselves to safeguarding our freedom.
Today is the first in history of donation by presidents to have this enormous, generous donation for the well-being of the families of the departed heroes. This is an encouragement for those who are in the service to know that even after they left, their families will not be left to be on the street or to be beggars.
The second in command, Vice President Kashim Shettima, National Assembly leaders, the Defense Minister, the service chiefs and heads of security agencies would also be the ambassadors while the appeal and celebration last for the year. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for a stronger collaboration between government and the media in carrying out shared responsibility for Nigeria's national development journey. He made the call when the leadership of the Nigerian Guild of Editors visited him at the presidential villa, pledging government support to ensure the sustainability of the fourth estate of the realm, making a strong case for a balanced partnership to drive national unity and economic growth. The Vice President Shettima noted that the time has come to prioritize governance over political considerations, acknowledging the economic challenges confronting the media, pledging government support to sustain quality journalism. President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Eze Anaba, lauded the Vice President's commitment to transparent governance, particularly in explaining government's economic policies as chairman of the National Economic Council.
The presidency, sure when we talk about president, talking about the president and the vice presidents, have a role to play, and that's why we came here. Of course, the president issues will also come up at our conference, but one thing we want to assure Nigerian and the president is that the media are committed to the democracy. Of course, as you all know, we are not a political party. Government take decisions almost on a daily basis, but it is the responsibility of the media to hold government to account. But one thing we must tell is that Nigerian media, we are committed to democracy, we are committed to good governance, and that they can take that away.
Emphasized the media's readiness to partner government while maintaining its independence, announcing that the 20th edition of the All Nigeria Editors Conference scheduled for November 7th to 9th in Yenagua, Bayelsa State. Now, Senate has approved the reimbursement of 15.1 billion naira through promissory notes to Kebbi State government. Also approved, as requested by President Tinubu, is the reimbursement of 9.5 billion naira to Nasarawa State government. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali brings us details.
The approvals, as recommended by the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, are for projects undertaking. These are the construction of Sir Ahmadu Bello International Airport in Birnin Kebbi and the cargo airport in Lafia.
The Federal Bureau of Public Procurement has ascertained and certified that the due process were followed accordingly. The federal government has also been doing the same in respect of some rules constructed by various state governments. That encourages the state governments to go into some of these laudable projects, which ordinarily the federal government may not have money instantly to undertake.
Senate has passed the NDIC Act Amendment Bill, which seeks to strengthen the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation.
The proposed amendments will enhance the NDIC's capacity to safeguard depositors, ensure the stability of the financial institutions, and promote trust in the banking system.
The Deputy President of the Senate had, while presiding as plenary, said efforts are being made to restore electricity supply to the northern parts of the country.
Electricity is taken to the northern part of the country was vandalized by terrorists. The security agencies are putting their hands together to get to that spot and try to eradicate or take away the threat.
Senator Diket Plank brought to the notice of the Senate the alleged murder in Anambra State of 5 of his constituents and urged the state government to investigate.
Doing their manual work in Anambra, but unfortunately they were rushed, killed, 2 were injured, and at the end of the day, no investigation has taken place.
Meanwhile, the special advisor to the president on National Assembly matters, Senator Bashir Lado, has in a statement said the screening of ministerial nominees has been postponed to Wednesday this week. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a member of the House of Representatives, Alex Ikweche, involved in a case of alleged assault on a cab operator, has been referred to the House Committee on Ethics and Privileges for investigation. This followed a point of order raised by Majority Leader Julius Ihonbe, stating that the rules of the House shall be applied for Alex Ikweche to face the House Disciplinary Committee. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikmen reports on the resolutions at plenary.
The man in the eye of the storm, Alex Ikweche, exchanging banters with colleagues in the hallowed chambers. But the incident of alleged assault involving him and a cab operator, captured in a viral video, is not going under the carpet.
I have a responsibility to say that this House will not sit and accommodate any aberration. And I'm on my feet today to plead with my colleagues and Mr. Speaker that this matter is serious enough. It impinges on our collective integrity. It attacks the conscience of the average Nigerian. It derogates on the image and expectations of the public of what we stand for as a House.
Things were said, and those things I regret. I apologize to all Nigerians.
His appeal was very emotional, very touching, shows remorse. You know, I was touched hearing it from here. But that is not enough. Our rules must be complied with. He should go and sit with our Committee on Ethics and Privileges.
Lawmakers debated and passed for second reading bill to amend the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020 to protect victims of fraudulent withdrawals.
My bank A confirmed that XYZ amount of money has been removed from my account. I requested from my banker to let me know who did that withdrawal. Unfortunately, my bank told me they could not tell me the identity, that I should go to police station.
The burden should not be on the Nigerian consumer, regardless of his status. It should be on the bank.
A bill to establish the Armed Forces Farms and Ranches Scheme also scaled second reading.
To contribute meaningfully to the nation's food security,
the House adopted a motion on the need to light up host communities around the Kashimbila multipurpose dam.
Make adequate budgetary provision in the 2025 appropriation to ensure electrification of these host communities.
Relevant security committees of the House were mandated to investigate reports of gruesome killings in parts of Zamfara and Anambra states. From the National Assembly, Mitari Ikben, NTA News.
You're watching the network news on NTA. Let's take a break. More news when we return. Glad to know you're still there. Climate change continues to put pressure on food production, economy and livelihoods. But there is an aspect of this impact that is worrisome. It is climate security, financing and its operationalization. President Bola Tinubu, in an address to the 2024 Maiden Climate Security Summit in Abuja, says Nigeria's ambitious action plan and expanded presidential CNG initiative are all efforts geared towards providing pathways to mobilizing green financing for adaptation and resilience. Charles Alpha reports.
So many financial commitments have been made at global level, yet there are those who think it is not enough, given the extent to which climate change is rapidly impacting every aspect of human existence, and why Nigeria must have climate change fund that warehouses investment to deal with insecurity, poverty, displacement, and food shortages.
The law provides for the establishment of the Climate Change Fund, but we are yet to operationalize this fund. And this fund is critical for us as a country.
President Bola Tinubu, in an address to the summit delivered by the Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, said commitments are not enough to drive carbon investment.
We must also streamline regulatory processes, promote innovative green financing mechanisms to develop and implement climate solutions.
Our collaborative efforts through the mentioned initiatives demonstrate that together we can build resilience.
The NCCC, if there is need to fine-tune the governance mechanism through an appropriate legislation, the National Assembly is there.
I dare say that there is the likelihood of Nigeria being able to mobilize up to 300 million USD once we operationalize the climate change fund.
The summit will deep dive into other areas like energy, food security, as well as examine impacts of climate change on health. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Talking security, in a decisive operation, the Nigerian Air Force airstrikes eliminated scores of Boko Haram terrorists at 2 locations in Bola Marwa, Borno State. A statement by Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Olushola Akimboyewa, notes that intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions for the confirmed heightened terrorist activities, revealing an influx of motorcycles and gatherings of combats across the site. Consequently, NAF fighter jets were dispatched to the location for an air interdiction mission. The first airstrike was executed effectively, engaging the target area, while moments later, ISR aircraft loitering the vicinity observed several terrorists returning to assess the damage and evacuate their wounded combatants. In response, NAF air assets conducted follow-up strikes, neutralizing additional terrorists. Another ISR was conducted in the area the same day, identifying another group of terrorists at a second meeting site. And upon verification, NAF air assets launched a precision airstrike on this location, neutralizing numerous terrorists. NAF says it remains committed to executing its mission with relentless precision, whether in joint or independent operations, to bring an end to terrorism. Meanwhile, ECOWAS commissions of small arms are meeting in Nigeria to develop a common template to combat improvised explosive devices-related threats. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that improvised explosive devices are major challenges to counter terrorism in most African countries.
Of small and light weapons, the use of improvised explosive devices (IED) by terrorists expanded between 2014 and 2022 in West Africa, with Cameroon, Mali, Niger, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, and Nigeria bearing the brunt. The Small Arms Survey of 2022 indicates more than 2,200 IED-related incidents between March 2014 and September 2022, with 6,600 casualties in the sub-region. This weapon that has transcended borders tend to slow the ongoing fight against terrorism.
We are in danger as citizens, we are in danger as states. So we should go beyond the usual bureaucracy and obstacle to cooperation and do our best and provide to our citizens the peaceful environment that they need.
With the signing of the Small Arms Commission Bill by President Bola Tinubu in June 2024 and the recent mass destruction of illicit arms, Nigeria is fully promoting the goals of the regional body.
Nigeria, as a member of ECOWAS, is deeply committed to countering the threat posed by the illegal circulation of small arms and light weapons.
Easy access to materials used for the production of IED is a major challenge.
The problem is we cannot control the fact that the IEDs, you can take many things to have it. like fertilizer. We cannot say no fertilizer coming in our country.
Challenges of proliferation of small and light weapons and that of improvised explosive devices transcend borders. So, resolution of this platform is for a collective action to combat the threat, to enhance safer community and a more secured region. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
To education, concerned about the number of students seeking admission into federal universities in the face of limited available spaces, the House of Representatives has engaged the public as it fine-tunes legislation to establish more federal universities. Among the proposed institutions is the Federal University of Solid Minerals Development, Michika, Adamawa State, and 4 others. National Assembly correspondent Mohammed Rabiu Ali tells us more.
The 5 bills sponsored by members representing various constituencies had passed second reading and are now being subjected to public scrutiny. The proposed bills seek to bridge gaps through provision of adequate learning environment that would cater to the needs of citizens.
It is now up to you, members of the public, to now also have your own say for or against any of these 5 bills. Your opinions, we take your opinions very seriously because it can make or mar the process of this bill.
Representatives of the NUC, Federal Ministry of Education, and other stakeholders gave their input on the desirability of the bills.
Indeed, the kind of investment that was made, or this country has made, in the oil sector is what we need in solid mineral sector.
The economic situation in the nation in the present is one of the factors hindering the running of already established federal institutions to meet global best practices.
Our position is that we are established by government to midwife and take care of universities established in the country. And so once the approval is given, definitely we don't have any choice.
Members of the committee acknowledged the submissions brought forward and promised to treat all contributions on merit in the interests of Nigerians.
And it's time for us to get away from this type of education. And that established the fact that we need to establish universities that are geared towards the development of our nation.
To exploit it, to do it according to the technology that exists globally.
The committee is expected to report back to the House for further deliberations. From the National Assembly, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Beyond being a reading room or social center where intellectual heritage is preserved, the National Library is set to roll out the drums as it turns 60, preserving cultures and promoting literacy. The management of the learning institution visited the management of the NTA to solicit support for the celebration. The National Library, established by government as the nation's preeminent repository of information for 60 years, has been collecting published and unpublished materials by Nigerians, making it available for readers in both physical and digital platforms through the National Virtual Library. Having promoted education, disseminated information, provided means of individual self-development, and met other bibliographic needs for 60 years, it's time to celebrate commitment to posterity. In this visit is to thank the management of NTA for its unflinching support over the years and acquaint the management of its Diamond Jubilee celebration.
We have to preserve these resources that are prized, the heritage of the country. We are digitizing the weak ones and putting them in the National Repository of Nigeria, which could be accessed by anybody, anywhere.
The Director General, NTA, represented by the Executive Director News, Ayo Adewi, assured the CEO of the National Library of a firm partnership to promote literacy and success of the forthcoming events.
NTA on its own, it's a library on its own, a resource for broadcast content and history of Nigeria. We are going to work stronger in our partnership in promoting and projecting your values, just like we have been doing.
Activities lined up for the celebration is built from the 14th to 20th of November 2024. Elizabeth. And for more reports on the network news, let's head to Lagos, where Adeola is standing by with some reports. Adeola by
The
some reports.
Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority says the full deregulation of the downstream sector has unlocked arrays of opportunities for investment, advising willing investors to key into specific areas of perceived low capacity and explore. This was at the day 2 of the Oil Trading and Logistics OTL Expo in Lagos, where 3 executive directors of the agency spoke on diverse topics. Michael Olaleye reports.
Day 2 of the Downstream Energy Expo presented another platform to brainstorm on issues revolving around risk and rewards and a pathway for profitable operations. And driving this change, key players at the conference acknowledged the role of deregulation to opening up the space for investment, which in turn will make Nigeria the net exporter of oil by 2025. And the coastal. This, the executive director, Distribution, Storage System and Retail Infrastructure of the LMDPA says highlights the need for investment in marine logistics, mobile test capabilities, and the need to automate distribution.
Distribution is primarily done by trucking and the coastal vessels. The cheapest and safest global way of transporting products is by pipelines. We need to go back there.
Yes. Other conversations focused on monitoring market behavior and consumer protection, including the new mandate of overseeing market interaction, as well as the role the Petroleum Industry Act bestows on the NMDPA.
The profit margin for retail outlets are quite low, but when you have more volumes, that is where you make your money.
It was jointly agreed that the demand for energy in Africa will definitely increase with growing population. Hence, the need to boost refining capacity, putting into consideration the global drive to net zero emission.
Once you think about sustainability in your operation, it brings about operational efficiency, emission reduction, things that you need to do, even adoption of technology.
The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is hopeful that inputs from the conference will guide its policy framework and drive sustainability of the industry. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
To sustain the current growth trajectory of NLNG and guarantee attainment of its futuristic plans, a new logo and trade name that encapsulates the company's ideals of commitment to innovation, environmental stewardship, and global relevance has been unveiled. At a news conference in Lagos, the company says its tagline, "Inspiring a Sustainable Future," is part of a strategic rebranding initiative that aligns with its vision of meeting evolving global energy demands. Joel Pokbola completes the report.
After 35 years of incorporation of the company, a new chapter has begun for the NLNG, with this rebranding culminating into the emergence of a new logo that speaks of the company's core values. NLNG, which has been in operation for the past 25 years, is desirous of deepening its impact in the industry, especially its efforts in developing a future where energy is clean and sustainable. This, the General Manager, External Relations and Sustainable Development, says is a key enabler that will propel the company to a vantage position.
What you have today as the NLNG icon is the swivel, which is the title, the name of the logo that we have, or the icon that we have, because it flows, it represents speed, it represents how adaptable the business is, it represents how modern we are, and of course it also shows for us as a business that we are not only just adapting, but we are forward-looking as a company.
Since inception, the company has been constantly dynamic. This paradigm shift is apt as it strengthens its leading role in the industry, leveraging technology and innovation.
So rebranding is happening, one of the first to be delivered. So he's saying, this is what we look like, this is how we want to be seen, and this is why we want to be seen the way we want to be seen. We are not just going to be an LNG company, we're going to be an energy company.
The new logo, which symbolizes a fresh perspective and the company's unwavering commitment to leading with purpose, is a colorful masterpiece, combining all elements of cultural aspirations, strategy and ambition of the company, and is expected to be a catalyst for positive change and progress that improves lives in a sustainable manner. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
And we're done with our contribution from Lagos. The network news will continue with Benny on our business desk when we return.
Well, it's time to talk business. I'll start by telling you that the new Minister of State Industry, Senator John Enna, has promised strategic leadership and a policy direction that will help grow Nigeria's industry for global competitiveness. This is as the industry watchers believe Nigeria's industrial sector is at a critical juncture. But with Senator John Enna now at the helm, there is renewed hope for growth and development. This is as he promises productivity by removing barriers with the aim of increasing industrial output from about 4% to 10% of GDP, creating wealth, jobs, and improving the country's trade balance. He is also quick to mention the need to take a look at industrial revolution as he recognizes the fact that no country has become rich by exporting raw materials alone. Eno, on his first day in office, seeks to drive investment in infrastructure such as power, transportation, and logistics to attract investors and support industrial growth. This is in addition to a clear policy framework that will support the kind of innovation and technology that will enable Nigerian industries to compete globally and create high-value jobs. He says with the energy he met on ground, all of the above is possible, as he believes the industrial sector has what it takes to drive economic growth and improve the lives of citizens.
What is industry's contribution to our GDP? What is industry's contribution to our employment statistics? Without prejudice to what those figures are, I believe that the higher those figures, the better the country does. So again, Mr. President has demonstrated his wisdom and his leadership in identifying this and appreciating this and giving us that challenge and that task to see how much industry can contribute to economic development.
There is more plans to be uncovered after receiving briefs and consultations with stakeholders. Now, in a bid to strengthen public-private partnership and the concessioning in its transactions in various sectors of the economy, the Bureau of Public Enterprises is advocating transparency, professionalism, and accountability in service for national development. Bose Adebo also reports that this was at the Bureau's symposium on impact of attitudinal behavioral ethics in the workplace.
Reflect on the various ways to foster and navigate the right ethics that can reshape our work culture, ensuring that we derive value from our efforts and expertise.
Ethical behavior is also and often influenced by organizational policies.
Let's first of all deal with the societal rot, the corrupt tendencies in us as people, as a people, is the most important thing.
Talking productivity, let's take a look at the markets. The market today sustained its negative trajectory at the close of today's trading on sell-offs in some shares as investors lost 394.37 billion naira as market capitalization dropped to 59.4 trillion naira. We can see the drop of 0.66% here, leading to the close of transaction for the all-share index at 98,058.07 basis points. And looking at the value, okay, first of all, volume of trade is 399.3 million, valued at 8.925 billion naira in 9,577 deals. Well, it's a decline, but it's a marginal one if you agree with me. And looking at the top trades, we have Here, UBA, the banking stock at very top spot, 90.4 million, Chams 80.6 million, and Transcap 31.6 million. We hope as the week progresses, we see positive breath. At this point, the year to date declined like 31.14%. The market breadth closed negatively at 0.09 with 29 gainers against 32 losers, and 65 equities actually remain unchanged. This is it on business at this time, but do stay with us. News continues after this break.
Electricity supply is to be restored to northern region of Nigeria by Sunday, 3rd of November 2024. This assurance is coming from the Managing Director of Transmission Company of Nigeria, Sule Hamid Abdulaziz, while giving update on ongoing repair works. Joshua Ujito reports.
17 states in northern Nigeria have been without electricity supply from the national grid for more than 1 week as a result of vandalism of power infrastructure. Shiroro Kaduna 330 kV transmission line and Ugwaji Apir lines that supply electricity to northern parts of the country have been pulled down by vandals who also threatened lives of engineers on repair work. Now, the military deployed its personnel to provide security to engineers who have commenced repair work on the Ugwaji Apir transmission lines in Benue State, which will now serve as alternative line to deliver bulk power to the north.
Line 1, which can carry 400 megawatts, is going to be ready between today and tomorrow. The second line, which 5-span was vandalized, is going to be ready latest by Sunday. Once we get these 2 lines, we'll be able to send at least 500 to 600 megawatts to the northern region.
I am confident that the National Security Advisor and all our security agencies, they are up to the task. And I believe that they are putting a number of things in place to ensure that the root causes of this are attacked and this is brought to an end.
People should be calm, and by God's grace, power will be restored in the next couple of days.
On the Shiroro-Kaduna lines, TCN says it is working with the Office of the National Security Advisor for the deployment of security personnel to enable work commence on the rehabilitation of the vandalized towers. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Nigeria is open for business and committed to eliminating barriers to trade. Musa Abubakar brings us details from the first Nigeria-Morocco Business Week in Casablanca, Morocco.
Nigeria and Morocco Business Week opens a new chapter in economic cooperation between 2 leading African economies, hosted to strengthen bilateral ties and investment. The event brings together business leaders, investors, and government officials to explore opportunities across sectors such as the energy sector, technology, and agriculture.
We give an enabling environment for investors. Investors would like to be assured that their investments are safe.
We work on the bankability, which means that we do the first studies that will prove to any investor that the project is reliable.
Nigeria is moving in line with energy transition. And the new energy transition we are moving to has to do with CNG as electric vehicle.
Issue of multiple taxation. And the government faced it squarely and took a bold decision to stop that as an incentive to encouraging major businesses.
The summit brings us closer to a more interconnected and prosperous future, reinforcing partnerships that promises long-term economic benefit for both nations. From Casablanca in Morocco, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
To bring us up to speed in the world of sports is Abdullahi.
Thank you for joining us on this segment. Now, let's begin with football. Nigeria's Super Falcons cruised to a 4-1 victory over the Phoenix of Algeria in an international friendly played in Lagos this Tuesday. A hat-trick from FC Rebel Queen striker Folashade Ijamilusi and a Monday gift header ensured they made 8-2 wins out of 2 bringing it to 6-1 on aggregate. The blend of home-based and foreign players, football stakeholders described as a welcome development, which, if sustained, can give the home-based players opportunity to push their way into the national team.
So we want to try and see how we can inject our local players, our local league players, into the mainstream of the Super Falcons. And that's what exactly we are doing. And you have seen it today, and you have seen their performance, and that's telling you that we really have talent, even within our local league.
That's from the home base and also from the foreign base. So if the two sides come together, I think we're going to make a strong team.
Now, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has confirmed November 18th for Nigeria's Super Eagles' final 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying match against Rwanda, scheduled for the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, Uyo. The match day 6 encounter will draw the curtain for a spot from Group D at the 35th Africa Cup of Nations finals to be held in Morocco, December 2025 to January 2026. Super Eagles currently sits top of the table with 10 points, followed closely by Rwanda on 6 points and Benin Republic on 5 points, with Libya sitting bottom with just 1 point. Portuguese club side Sporting has confirmed Manchester United's interest in appointing its boss Ruben Amorim as their new manager and are willing to pay his €10 million release clause. The Red Devils, who needed a new manager after sacking Erik ten Hag on Monday, approached 39-year-old Amorim, who is a highly regarded coach and has won 2 Portuguese league titles with Sporting, including their first in 19 years since joining in 2020. Ruud van Nistelrooy, who joined the club as Ten Hag's assistant last summer, has been named as interim manager and will take charge of Wednesday's Carabao Cup tie at home to Leicester City. That's the much we have for you on the sports. Back to Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Abdullahi, for the updates. And that's the news. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Elizabeth Omori.
Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are